Hi, I'm Mike Pollock, and you're watching Monocle-wearing Rebuttals.
Depending on your age, I think most people watching this will agree with me when I say that, in general, over the past decade, the attitudes of people towards gaming have developed, they've changed. Up until about midway through the noughties, I think gaming was much less socially acceptable than it is today. I think back then a much larger amount of people shunned it and wrote it off as something kind of nerdy and antisocial. But there came a point, of course, when this began to slowly change. Nowadays, while of course a minority of people do still write it off for various reasons, I think society has really started to embrace games a lot more. More or less everyone I know plays video games in some capacity. It's become something that I completely take for granted. If you ask me, this broadening of the gaming audience really started to kick off in 2007. The Nintendo Wii, having launched at the end of the previous year, exploded in popularity, and this of course ushered in a new age of motion control gaming. I think it's fair to say that without the Wii, similar technologies such as the PlayStation Move and the Kinect simply would not exist. The Wii practically gave birth to a new market. This was followed by the rise of Facebook games, Apple's App Store, etc. It didn't take long before this new wave of more accessible, approachable gaming was slapped with the all too familiar title of casual games. And so we come to the topic of this video, the backlash towards casual games. I don't know why this is happening, but it is, and it frustrates me to no end. So I grew up on a diet of what you would call hardcore games, and I've always longed for more people to share my understanding of why gaming is such a brilliant medium. Now that this has finally happened, albeit through games much different and more accessible from the ones I played growing up, I couldn't be happier. But why do I feel like I'm the only one who is? More and more am I seeing people, not just fans, but people who actually work within the industry, shun casual games and the people who play them, and for the most immature and stupid reasons. So first we have the people who say these aren't games. The logic behind this argument generally is, because they aren't like traditional games, they aren't games altogether, which doesn't even begin to make sense. Casual gaming is different. So what? What's wrong with being unique? In this medium, there are no guidelines, no rules for what is and what isn't a game. As far as I'm concerned, if the creator says it's a game, and that's it. Another thing I often hear is that these aren't games because they're simple. This is something I hear a lot about casually oriented iOS games in particular. What an absolute load that is. Since when has a game being simple been a bad thing? Some of the greatest video games of all time, Tetris, Super Mario Bros., are built on some very simple concepts. Possibly the worst thing I hear is when people say the people who play these games aren't gamers, as if it's some kind of magical rank to be desired and earned. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I think anyone capable of coherent thought is concerned, if you play games, you're a gamer, and that's all there is to it. Why do these people care that people play games that aren't hardcore stroke traditional? Why do people care what other people play? Who cares if they're different? They're all games. And that's what annoys me, that the hardcore looks down on the casual players. Because, you know, they have more experience, or maybe they've played more difficult games. I mean, how utterly pretentious can you get? I think it's great that there are more people starting to get into gaming. And you know, a lot of gamers often complain about how people, mainly within the media, bash video games. If you want to stop that from happening, if you want to promote an understanding of them, stop doing this. Stop trying to belittle these new players. We should be nurturing them, so they enjoy video games that are more accessible. Good for them, that's fantastic. We should be encouraging them, not looking down on them and disparaging them. Maybe even given time, they'll start playing more quote-unquote hardcore stuff. Remember, we were all beginners at one point. So that's the bottom line here. No matter what you think of it, casual gaming is gaming. It's different and you might not like it, but have a bit of respect for other people's tastes. You're not better than people who play Wii Fit or Angry Birds because you play Halo or Zelda or Mario. We are all gamers and we are in this together. So I'd like to hear what you think. Do you agree with me? Should casual gaming be encouraged or discouraged? Or am I just a British fuckwit who likes to make jokes about the size of his penis?